Hello and welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esme.
And I'm now.
And today we're going to be talking about Avenue Q.
Yay.
Yay! But first we have a tiny bit of news because we are recording this on Tuesday and we recorded last week's episode on Friday.
We recorded on Friday because I had an essay.
Yeah.
And we're recording today because we're seeing a show tomorrow.
We've already said what show it is. We're seeing Hadestown tomorrow, so by the time
We're
this
seeing
comes out,
Hadestown.
we'll
Well, I've
we
seen
did
Hadestown.
we've seen Hadestown. Wow, how exciting! Genuinely very exciting. I'm
Yeah.
buzzing for it. Got sent the tickets today, and I was like, oh, this is joyous.
I got my train ticket home today.
Yeah,
My friends are
nice.
always like, how do you save so much money traveling home?
Yeah,
We're from London.
we're from London.
I
Well,
was
yeah,
like, how
we're
much
we're
so far?
casually
Yeah,
going to Hadestown tomorrow.
totally. So, quick day trip. But I was like, how do you save so much money whenever you go home? And I'm like, because a single ticket is like £10. It
Oh
is
my word.
not that hard to get a train to London.
I don't take the train home. I have to get the coach because it is
The thing for
significantly
me is the
cheaper.
coach ends up being more expensive than the train a lot
Yeah.
of the time, and it's like twice as long. So I'm like, I
See,
may as well just take the train.
the train is like 70 and the coach is like 10.
Yeah,
So I kind of have my choice made for me. But yeah, we're seeing Hadestown, and also I'm also seeing Les Mis on Saturday, and
yeah. Esme's very excited.
exciting. And I'm also getting my braces off, which is very exciting.
Big week.
Big week for me. I keep telling people, and people be like, yeah, it's a big week for me, and they're expecting me to say something dumb like Taylor Swift is doing something, and I'm like, no, I'm getting my braces off. And they're like, oh, that's massive.
5 years in the making.
I think it's actually technically 6.
Oh, damn.
I know. Anyway, let's get into the news other than what our theatre plans are. Fangirls have announced their cast. It is a Australian musical and it is opening at the Lyric Hammersmith.
The
Um,
cast.
the cast.
It's good. It's
It
relatively new-ish people.
yeah.
I don't think there's anyone who is making their Broadway. I'm out of it, guys. It's been a rough week. It is Tuesday. It's been a rough week. We can't really get into it. Making her musical theatre debut in the role of Edna is recent graduate Jasmine Elcott,
Yeah.
currently performing in Sheffield Theatre's The Crucible.
Mm.
She is known for her Golden Buzzer performance on Britain's Got Talent. I'm taking all of this from the What's on Stage
I
site, by the
remember
way.
reading that exact article
Yeah.
earlier today.
Joining her are Miracle Chance, her who did Starter for 10 and The Witches as
Oh,
Brianna.
she was also Veronica and Heathers. I saw her in that. She was very good.
Mary Malone, her who did Burnt at the Stake as Jules.
Nice.
Gracie McGonagall, her who did The Little Big Things as Lily. Gracie's been in other stuff, hasn't she?
She was also in The Crucible.
Yeah, she do and Tariq Jarrett, him, who's been in Daddy, plays Salty.
Interesting. I'm
And
very
then they've also got ensemble.
nice.
Eve de Leon Allen, Max Gill, Lena Patty Jones, who's making her professional debut,
Nice.
and Nikki Wong Rush.
They held open auditions for this online and then recalled people in person. So it's nice to know that they actually took some people from that and offered them the job
Yeah.
because often they do stuff like this and then just give it to people who have representation credits to their names.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they've done that. Sunset Boulevard are doing a cast album
in like October.
It's so annoying. So annoying.
To be fair, we were saying it's because it's like a few weeks or like just after the Broadway production opens. So that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yes. I want
But
it now. Please. I just want to listen to the Tom
please.
Francis going Sunset Boulevard as he's walking down the Strand.
It says it was recorded live at the Savoy, so I assume it is his live
From the
Sunset
Strand.
Boulevard.
But yeah, he will be doing that outside of the St. James Theatre this
Which
October.
has been officially announced.
Officially
it's
announced.
Like, I want to say it's opening in September.
Yeah,
it might
September,
be
October
opening in
time.
Fall, autumn.
Fall time.
Fall.
Fall. This was one of the worst kept rumors of the season.
Yeah, very open secret. Those
Very
ranks
open
and chains.
secret. I think a lot of people who didn't know the rumor just worked out based on some. I saw someone make a video about equity guidelines and about how you're not actually allowed to perform outside of the stretch of a thing, so you need a marquee big enough for them to do it.
Yeah.
But then some people were just like, it's going to the St. James.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, West Kept Secret.
Yeah. Sunset Boulevard.
Woo, exciting. Rachel Zegler rumors.
I made Esme write this one down to talk about. Rachel Zegler makes an Instagram post and it's like a little carousel of photos. And like the last one is a picture of the Broadway sign, like a
Yeah.
sign saying Broadway this way or whatever. And people are like, she's doing something.
Mm.
It's pretty, I think everyone kind of assumes that she is going to be on Broadway sometime soon.
Yeah,
And by
No,
soon, I
same.
mean within like the next decade maximum.
Yeah.
She's going on Broadway.
If she's at least if she's not been on Broadway in the next 10 years, I reckon I can see her being nominated for a Tony in the next 10 years. Easily, I can
Yeah,
say that.
she's very talented. We love Rachel
We
Zegler.
love Rachel Zegler.
But people have been like, what could she be going into? The best one so far.
What's your
She's
pick?
going to play Anya in the Anastasia revival. There has been no announced Anastasia revival. There probably isn't going to be one. I think Rachel Zegler should play Anya in the Anastasia revival.
Even in like a
should
concert
happen.
of it.
Yeah.
You know what, babes? Come to the Palladium. Make your West End debut at the Palladium.
Yeah. We've been talking for like the past few minutes, being like, what could
does
Rachel
she
Zegler
do?
go into?
My
We've got
theory,
many ideas.
my theory, current theory, is that it's a play. I think she might surprise us all and do a play.
Yeah.
I'd love it
I
to
was
be a
saying
musical.
I was saying I don't think she wants to get stuck in musical theatre because we're saying like everything she's done has basically been musical theatre.
Yeah.
Except for like Shazam, which kind of flopped.
Mm.
And then the Y2K horror thing that she's
Yeah.
doing right now, but that's kind of indie.
Yeah.
Which isn't none of that's bad. It's just everything that is successful for her has been musical theatre, which is very good. She's a very talented musical theatre actress.
Oh no, she's an amazing singer.
Yeah. But I can see why she might want to do like a play or something and be like, hey guys,
Hey
I
guys,
can act really well.
I'm like a good straight actor.
Yeah.
Because like let's be real here. You can say that the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was not that musical, but it
But
was.
did she or did she not sing?
If you were to put it on stage, it would be classed as a musical. Anyway, I love Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jason Robert Brown, he's doing a new musical. It's like it's got a very similar name. I think it's the Garden of Good and Evil, and I keep getting it confused with the School of Good and Evil.
Shout out to Theo and Caruso. Always on my mind.
Yeah, so it's got Sierra Burgess and Jay Harrison Gay in it, which is a great casting. I love that.
It's insane casting. Yeah, he also just did at the time of recording this, like a day ago or something.
Yeah.
He did his concert, which they really struggled selling tickets to.
Oh, they did sell. They were constantly on sale, and I was like, I don't like. I love.
Shouldn't go, but
I love a Jason tune, but not enough to spend enough money to go see him in concert. Okay.
Esme put out like a post on the Instagram about when we released the last 5 years episode, and it didn't include anything that we said about Jason Robert Brown. It was just that we were talking about Jason Robert Brown the last 5 years
for the episode.
And you'll never guess who liked the post.
He might have a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
He was like searching himself up though, so which I think is quite funny. Point in 4K, he liked the post, by the way. That's what it was.
The other thing.
Are we talking about it?
As Operation Mincemeat superfans, the superfans we've always been, and we've never said anything different.
We've never been known as haters.
Never. I just want to say, Jack Black.
Jack Malone.
I'm rooting for you, man.
I love
that Olivier.
Honestly, as I said in the episode, because I had no filter that episode.
Esme was really sick.
I was so
in case anyone random just happens to be listening to this one too. Esme may or may not have been really sick when she said phrases such as Operation Mincemeat winning Best New Musical at the Olivier's would be the death of British theatre. I've never said anything bad about Operation Mincemeat. It's rather similar to how I've never watched a bootleg.
No.
Out of sheer respect for the theatre industry, never watched a bootleg.
No.
never talk shit about a musical, and especially not.
Honestly, that episode is not my proudest moment in its entirety. Even if
My
you're like,
mic wasn't working. We were both sick.
even if you're like, wow, Esme made a really good point. That wasn't me. That was my dog Scout.
Yeah.
Scouty. That was definitely you talking, was it? Hello.
Esme's dog is here. I want you to keep this in.
So over there.
Anyways, moving
Anyways,
swiftly onwards.
but back to the actual news.
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada casting Matt Henry as Nigel. Exciting again.
Yeah. Love that movie. I think the musical.
Sorry.
I think the musical is gonna be like camp. It'll be
It's
fun.
It's gonna be a fun camp.
I don't know if they've released like ticket price or anything. If tickets are
They
cheap enough,
have. They are
have they?
relatively cheap. Yeah, let me have
We should
another
go.
look. We should go.
We were talking about going to the Globe.
We were. Rent Revival is casting.
Yeah.
Announced at the Landmark Theatre.
I don't have the cast up. I could probably get it up.
Is this the one
That's
where
probably
they're
on What's on Stage as well.
half on BSL?
Um, Let me check. Alicia Corrales from Six the Musical as Maureen. Athena Collins as Joanne. Cameron Bernard Jones as Collins. Avita Crime, I want to say, sorry, as Mimi.
Mm.
Jack Reitman as Mark. Kellyanna J as a swing. Kyle Richardson as Angel. Luke Friend as Roger. And Miles Hart as Benny. The ensemble also includes Alexandra Gryhouse, Dylan Andrews, Edward Bullingham, and Max Merzer.
Nice. I feel like that's the second former Six cast member to do a major revival of Rent in the UK. Because I think Millie O'Connell did play Maureen, sorry, more specifically.
Yeah. I think the problem is this is slightly too far for us to like realistically travel to.
It's up in like Manchester, isn't it?
The show runs at Peterborough New Theatre before transferring to the Queen's Theatre Barnstaple. Barnstaple? Yeah.
As we were just saying, the cost of rail fare is extortionate in the UK.
Yeah. It's
nationalised.
I remember when we were talking about when we did the Rent episode, we were like, I really want to see this
I want to
show.
see Rent.
We'll just do a West End. Take this one and put it on the West End as well.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't even know if it's going to be like a groundbreaking revival.
They'll shove anything on the West End these days.
Jamie Lloyd, Rent. We keep making this joke about can you Jamie Lloyd a musical?
Can you Jamie Lloyd a musical? Rent must be Jamie Lloyd. Rent's prime Jamie Lloyd material. There's no way he doesn't have his little claws on Rent.
Come on, Jamie Lloyd, hear me out. Rent.
Jamie Lloyd. Speaking about weird musicals with cameras,
Uh-oh.
opening night. It's an Evo Van Hove production with Sheridan Smith in it, and people are like, what the fuck is this?
I've seen a ton of people being like, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. I wouldn't lie, if they had £15 tickets, I'd be there.
Oh yeah.
Like I've not heard anyone say it was amazing. I've just heard everyone be like, it was weird.
I've heard one person say I saw like someone on Twitter say it was really good.
I saw someone on Messenger.
But I think that was because it was weird.
Yeah. I feel like I'd either really like it or really hate it. Because I like a weird revival or a weird show.
Yeah, like if it goes like Oklahoma style.
I heard someone say it's like a worse Oklahoma, and I was like, oh,
that's interesting.
Again, cheap enough ticket, I'll be there. Shrek on tour had made some changes. So Shrek are doing a non-union tour around America at the moment. This is not to be confused with the tour that's going on in the UK at the moment. They're completely different.
I don't think the one in the UK is even open yet. It's like next month.
It's making the rounds and then it's coming to Hammersmith.
They made some changes because I saw
some of them were like long needed. Yeah,
the good ones is that they took out the slur.
Yes. There's a very obvious one in Story of My Life, right?
Yes. Said by The Wolf. They changed it to, I don't even remember what it is. It's like Hot and Steamy Mess. Yeah, because that would work in the song. Yeah. It's not like a hard change.
No, it's just that makes sense.
Yeah, to an extent, I understood. Well, I didn't understand why they used the slur, but I got the idea of what they were trying to do. It just does not work.
No, no, no.
They also took out Fiona calling herself bipolar.
Morning person?
No, it's in. Oh my God, what is it called? I know it's today.
I don't think she's. Oh no,
Yes,
she
she
does.
does. She
Oh, I
rips up
seem
the
a bit
book
bipolar.
and she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it
just
kind
have
of
in there.
comes out of nowhere because this whole time she's talking about
Yeah.
fairy tales and then she's like, and now I went bipolar.
Yeah, I don't remember what they changed that one to. And then the one I'm kind of sad about, but I get why they did it. They took out Build a Wall, the song, which is unironically like a great song.
Also, like, it's great because you can be like, I wrote this before Trump. Before Trump. I was talking about building
Yeah.
walls in my musical before Trump.
I think, to be fair, okay,
Mm.
the thing with the song Build a Wall,
I'm not that familiar with it, TBH. I'm not that familiar with it, TBH.
I don't think there's a ton of like lot in the song.
Yeah.
It's kind of just Shrek going, I'm really sad and no one likes me. I'm gonna build a wall to keep everyone out.
Okay.
Shouts out Brian Darcy James though.
I love you, Barry
It's a
Dusty
good song.
James.
It's a like under 3 minute song. It's a
Mm.
summary of everything that's happened where he's like, I thought my friends were different, but turns out they're not. They just want to use me to marry Lord Farquaad because they think I'm a monster and I'm ugly and no one will ever love me. So I'm gonna build a wall. I'm gonna make it 10 feet high. And that's kind of the song. Like it's not that important of a song. It is just a
Yeah.
really fun song.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah.
Um,
So
they've
I get
also,
why they took it out. I'm
yeah,
just sad because I liked it.
they've also changed the framing device of the show, I think, where they're like it's a group of people coming together and putting on a production of Shrek instead of it being like this is Shrek the musical.
What the hell?
Yeah. Do you not know about this?
No.
Yeah, so that's why they all look like that. That's why they like you can see like human features on them.
Starkid.
Yeah.
Starkid. They are announcing their new musical on the 6th of April. So that'll
Yes.
be the
6
week that
days.
this releases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 days after this comes out, 'cause this comes out on the first. April Fools. Happy April Fools,
So
guys.
next episode we will
No,
know.
no.
Next episode you will know. We
You
won't.
guys will know. We won't.
Um
Element of surprise.
we know that they are quite likely the lead. They were the first poster.
Yeah, I saw that and went, this looks so high budget. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Piratey. They talked about like the company had talked about that before, where they said their next musical is probably not going to be Hatchetfield.
No. I mean, there is only so far they can stretch Hatchetfield, and I think it's smart of them to move away. Also, pirates sound sick. I love the
Yeah.
ocean.
And then the second thing that they talked about was they didn't talk about it, that they had because they've released a second photo now.
I saw this.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that there's going to be puppets in it,
It's,
which is very fun. I love puppets. They look like sick puppets as well.
they look like Milky Whites.
Yeah,
They do look
they're
like Milky
really
Whites.
cool.
And that's deeply exciting to me. As someone who loves Milky White puppets.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued because it seems like also I think I said this to you. I'm so surprised that it's taken us that like we're getting a Star Kid show this soon. But I was like, no, it's actually just it was such a long time between the last two.
Oh, it's in Nerdy Prudes and how long he waits.
Yeah. Time for Nell's segue. She's been practicing this.
Sorry, we were talking about news and I was like, she's a Starkid one first, so I can do a really good segue into the episode. Yeah, the puppets in Starkid's new things seem really cool. Maybe this is the year we buy digital tickets.
For like
Every year
5
since
years.
yeah. Or was like we should just buy a
I feel
digital
like
ticket.
we briefly talked about it for Black Friday. We looked at it for Black Friday as well.
We seriously considered it for Nerdy Prudes and
Yeah.
then decided not to. But maybe this is the year we do it.
If anyone wants to send us any money so we can do that,
But
we
yeah,
will.
the puppets seem really cool. Anyways, talking about puppets.
On the topic of puppets,
Avenue Q.
Avenue Q is a musical with music and lyrics by Robert Lopez and Jeff Marks. Robert Lopez has written "Let It Go." It's a fun little nugget for you to think about while you're going through this episode. And has a book by Jeff Whitty. So after getting his bachelor's degree in English from Yale, Lopez got a job at Pfizer. Of course, he got an English degree from Yale. He also grew up in Greenwich Village.
Jesus.
He got a job at Pfizer Pharmaceuticals and helped many of his friends get temp jobs too. We would sit and commiserate and just look at each other dazedly, trying to figure out how we ended up here, going from one of the top institutions, writing paper and putting on shows, to really nobody giving a damn about our opinion. It's a familiar problem. He would meet Jeff Marks at a BMI musical theatre workshop. So quick history on that, because they're very important for this. The workshops have produced people like John Kander and Fred Ebb from Chicago, Shelton Harnick and Jerry Bock from Fiddle on the Roof, She Loves Me, Farello, Lionel Bart, Oliver, Elton John, Alan Menken, Mel Brooks, Tony Yazbek, Duncan Sheik, Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkie. Like, a lot of musical theatre comes from these workshops. And would put on a show, cover musical called Kermit the Prince of Denmark, which was a retelling of Hamlet.
Oh, that sounds quite sad.
They won an award for their lyrics and got some attention. And Lopez says they hoped to work on a TV film project with the Jim Henson Company, but that didn't plan out. Yeah. They would just come up with ideas at this point about puppets, and most of them would be traced back. Like, most of what would become Avenue Q would be traced back to this. They would then meet up with Rick Leon, who had previously worked on them with Kermit Prince of Denmark. They would then bring Jeff Whitty on board to help them, like, come up with a plot for their ideas. I think it literally just started out with, let me write a song for a puppet to sing about 20-something problems, because I think that would be funny to hear about.
Which is fair.
And they were like, oh shit, we've got to come up with a plot for this. So they came on board for that. For a while, it was going to be a TV show. For a while, it was like, we're going to make a pilot for this. It's going to be a grown-up Sesame Street, geared towards those who grew up getting valuable lessons from the songs in human and puppet characters.
I do always kind of forget it's actually really linked to Sesame Street. Like, I've always thought puppets and humans and their learning lessons, it's like, oh, it's kind of definitely taken, but I forget it is literally just like, what if we made Sesame Street edgy?
Yeah.
What
if Kermit the Frog can have sex?
What if Kermit can swear?
Yeah.
Like,
what if Kermit had
what if Elmo could be racist? That's Avenue Q.
But their names will have to be slightly different because we don't want Disney to sue us.
Yeah.
They said having the puppet characters might make them dig into topics that, like, they wouldn't be able to get away with if they weren't puppets. So, like, the songs that everyone's a little bit racist would be a lot different if it was just humans performing it on stage. They would write about themselves and their friends being lost in the transition between college and adulthood, trying to struggle with who you are, where you belong, and why no one seems to care where you went to school, or what kind of degree you have, or what dreams or ambitions might be. It would have initial readings at the York Theatre, with songs being developed at the BMI workshop, presented at the York BMI showcase, getting the attention of the show's Broadway producers, Jeffrey Saller, Kevin McCorm, and Robin Goodman. Yeah, they would then do more workshops. The show having numbers that would go on to be in the show, but, like, some wouldn't. So there was a song about jury duty at one point called Tear It Up and Throw It Away. I think they would literally just be like, adulthood sucks, let me go write a song for a fucking puppet. If You Were Gay, which is now
it's kind of South Park.
So do you want to know that other show? Book of Mormon with the guys from South Park.
It does make a lot of sense.
And there's this great Vox article talking about both the politics of Avenue Q and Book of Mormon whilst touching on South Park.
I think South Park deserves a lot of the hate it gets.
Yeah.
But it is a genuinely, like, pretty good show.
It's well thought out at points.
There's this documentary I watched on the making of their episodes, because they basically make their episodes in a week.
Yeah.
Which is how they stay pretty relevant. It was really interesting to watch, because it's literally like the first couple of days they're sat in, like, a boardroom and they're like, let's come up with a plot for this episode. And then the one, I don't know how much you know about South Park.
I know a bit.
It's basically, the documentary follows them. I wouldn't even call it a documentary, it's pretty unserious. It follows them as they make the Human Centipede episode.
Oh, I've heard about the Human Centipede episode. Yeah, I've heard about it. I've not seen it, but I've heard about it.
And they have this clip of, I don't even remember if it was like Trey Parker or just someone else. But he was just like, you know what I realized recently? I never read the terms and conditions when I sign like terms and conditions. I just
Yeah,
agree to them. Let's make something out of that. He agrees to the Apple terms and conditions,
yeah.
and now he becomes a human centipede. And that
Because
becomes the episode.
they were able to do a Meghan and Harry spoof like a week after Spare came out, where they did the
Yeah,
privacy publicity tour joke.
yeah. Like it stays really up to date, but I think like that whole thing about this jury duty idea,
Mm,
it's just like sitting in a room being like, you know what's been pissing me off lately?
yeah.
And then making it into an episode of South Park or a song in Avenue Q.
Yeah, it would be scheduled to begin performances at the Vineyard Theatre in early February of 2003, with at this point it being described as Generation X's take on children's
Oh
television,
my God.
utilizing puppets, live actors. So it was very much like, we're cool, we're edgy, come see puppets. It would get rave reviews here, being cited 4 times with Ben Brantley's The New York Times, saying, inspired the first mainstream musical since Rent, with cool, such a seductive directness to theatre goers on the fair side of 40 with their own language, pitch perfect ensemble of live performance and oversized hand puppets. They're invoking the name of Rent, so you know it must be good.
So it's got to be good.
New York theatre critics should be banned from saying the words rent in their review every. What of another way to
Like
describe
sometimes I get it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this
it?
is
Yeah,
similar to Rent.
yeah, 100%.
Like sometimes it's just like, this is a pretty good musical. Rent.
It's a bit like how when we were reading Great Comet and they all just kept going, this is the next Hamilton. Next Hamilton, move over.
Yeah.
Hamilton, move over. It's like, guys, put down the comparison and like use your words. That's what you're literally. That's literally your job. It would win many awards off Broadway, with winning the Lucille Lortel Award for Outstanding Musical. It would then go to the John Golden Theatre, which is normally a playhouse. Because I was like, I don't recognize that name of that theatre. Does it been renamed something? And I was like, no, it's just only hosts plays, really.
And Avenue Q.
And Avenue Q for many, many years, with it opening on the 31st of July 2003 after 22 reviews.
I wasn't even born.
No, you
I would
weren't.
be. Soon I would be. But I
You,
wasn't even born yet.
yeah. On the Wicked episode, you were like, I can't believe you weren't born for when Wicked was
Yeah, because it opened like
premiered.
fucking 2 days after I was born or
Yeah.
something.
It was like, you were 2 days old.
Yeah, but I was there, and you weren't.
Barely there, though.
But was I or was I not there?
The New York Times would say, in a savvy, sassy, and entirely likable Avenue Q, which opened last night at the Golden Theatre, an idealistic man stares into the audience and sings in a voice shiny with hope. There's something good, something good. Something's coming, something's good. The feeling of some nagging tug of deja vu is entirely possible. The same 40 years ago, another idealistic man on Broadway sang the exact same thing on the exact same lyrics, and has continued to do in insurmountable revivals ever since. But that was Tony, the starry-eyed hero of the breakthrough musical West Side Story. And Tony is not to be confused with Princeton, the starry-eyed hero of Avenue Q. Wild.
That's crazy.
When I read that, I was like, okay. So we've skipped Rent again, and we're going straight for West Side Story.
These reviewers used to be funny. What's happened?
Yeah. After vehemently anticipating the good things of the future, Tony went to fall in deep, unconditional love, kill his girlfriend's brother, and die violently, leaving an extremely pretty corpse all within a matter of days. Spoilers!
Jesus.
Princeton too has stars in his eyes, but when he sings about something coming, he falls kind of short of love, or maybe not. Gets lost in looking for his purpose in life, lies about moping in his apartment while takeout food containers pile up, and when last is heard of, is still pretty much alive, although continuing state of what looks terminally uncertainty. Oh, and did I mention he has two heads? That's literally. Figuratively, he's a lot more. If the plotline seems to sag or wonder in the manner of its aimless characters and lopsided act that goes far too long, the individual performances and songs nevertheless are sharply focused and completely committed to the movement. to the moment, sorry. Even more than Rent, the only other
Oh,
show on yeah, two heavy hitters. Bingo. The only other show on Broadway which is pitched directly to theatregoers over 12 and under 40. Avenue Q shimmeringly reflects the sensibility that the demographics segment so covered by television advertisers. For Broadway producers whose count every head in the audiences who isn't great a bonus, Avenue Q qualifies as a serious blessing.
yeah. I think it was one of the, and I hate to sound like an early 2000s theatre reviewer,
Go ahead.
but apart from Rent,
Yeah.
there weren't, even by 2003, there weren't a ton of musicals that were bringing in young people. Like
100%.
Spring Awakening 2007,
Yeah.
Wicked, yeah, but that was after this, technically.
And Wicked, I think, skewed a bit younger than the crowd that were like, I'm gonna see
Yeah,
Avenue Q.
yeah, like I'm so happy I organized this. Oh yeah, because this is so helpful. Like, okay, Annie, way too young.
100%.
The same with like Beauty and the Beast. And everything else is kind of like older, apart from like Rent.
And you also didn't have like Legally Blonde, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
Funny and fun and also young feeling.
There weren't like any young adult musicals yet.
No, the notion of a young adult musical was this novelty. It was the hair, it was the rant, it was I'm surprised to start talking about hair.
Yeah. I think the thing is, like, even with hair and stuff, there's a kind of like sophistication to it.
Interesting.
As in, like, there's this kind of underlying deep message in hair. Avenue Q is
Yeah.
kind of just, what if the Sesame Street guys could say fuck? Isn't that funny? And
No,
that's not a bad thing. Like,
but
it does genuinely make quite a good musical. But
yeah.
it's kind of the first, because again, the thing with Rent, even Rent has this underlying kind of deep message.
Of like No Day But Today, Live While You're Young, La
Yeah.
Biba Wham.
And then I think that all of that is like exacerbated by the fact that, if I died right before
Yeah.
opening night. Sorry, Jonathan Larson.
I got really drunk at Freeze once and started talking about the politics of Jonathan Larson's work.
It was crazy.
What is it? Entertaining.
But like there's all of that, and there's still this kind of sophistication to all of these musicals. Where it's very much like we would like to see some younger people coming in, but ultimately it's still something for older people to enjoy. And Avenue Q was just kind of the first to just do the opposite. And I can assume that older people went to go see it and they left
they must
scandalized. Like that man who saw the Freudian ballet sequence at Oklahoma.
Oh, I think about him daily.
I hope he's doing well.
He's our hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think then if you get, like, I'm looking more the stuff we've done later, Spring Awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, even that's kind of deep.
Yeah. I mean, the closest comparison is Book of Mormon.
Yeah, that's kind of the same kind of group.
What if Mormons?
What if Mormons were funny?
Mormons. I heard Jeffrey Dahmer's in the Book of Mormon. I've not seen the Book of Mormon. I really want to. I didn't know Jeffrey Dahmer was in it.
When he goes to hell.
Oh,
Spooky
yes!
Mormon Hell Dream.
Spooky Mormon Hell Dream.
They've got a few fun characters there.
We need to see Book of Mormon this year.
We really need to see Book of Mormon. I've never watched a bootleg. However, I may or may not have seen quite a bit of Book of Mormon.
See, I've not actually.
You should.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the thing with Avenue Q. It's very hard to talk about besides basically saying this was a stupid fucking musical.
Yeah.
And it works. I was going to compare it to another musical, but I've learned my lesson. So I will not. But what I will say is that Avenue Q picks a side.
The producers.
Yes. But I think Avenue Q very clearly picks a side where, yes, there are some deep moments because they kind of have to be in anything you write.
See, the way that Avenue Q was first pitched to me when I was like 14, 13, we watched the opening number. And then we were like, what the hell is this? They're puppets and they're singing and it's a musical. That's dumb. And my singing teacher at the time said to us, he went, so yeah, it is dumb. But it's a comedy and it's kind of inappropriate. Don't Google it. At the end of Act One, when you get to Kate Monster stood on that stage singing a heartbreak song, everyone in the audience doesn't care about the fact that she's a puppet anymore.
Yeah. Like it does tread that line sometimes, but at the end of the day, it is puppets
Mm,
singing stupid songs with stupid storylines.
yeah,
And there are some very real moments because I think it's all based on like the creators' experiences.
yeah, 100%.
So there are some very real moments, but it ultimately never takes itself that seriously.
No, no,
I'm not like a massive Avenue Q fan or anything.
no.
I've not listened to it in probably like years, probably since before the pandemic.
I listened to it a bit today and I was like,
Yeah, I couldn't tell you many songs beside like the big ones that everyone kind of knows.
yeah, yeah, same.
It's very like targeted towards young adults
Yes,
who are in this turn of the millennia with no idea what they're doing. The Twin Towers, they're
gone,
gone.
gone.
Big change.
Massive for Broadway, actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't
In
feel
like
like we
5 years, Barack Obama is going to be elected. They've got
George
no idea what's happening.
George Bush is president at the moment. George
Exactly. Which
W.
one?
Bush, I think it's W.
W or HW?
Laura Bush is first lady.
It doesn't help me.
I don't know American politics, man. I do and I don't.
Whoever was president in 2003 is president.
Yeah. Anyway, so the New Yorker would say, an ingenious combination of the real world and Sesame Street. The show presents the friends on Avenue Q both as something both more and less than friends. In a city where dreams are inevitably dashed, they're not destined on gap ads. They're neighbors who perform a cranky and adorable skit called Life. They wake up every morning and they find themselves in the rafter, or rather, or living through Paradise Lost. Take Christmas Eve, after Brian and others bemoan their fate, she sings some of her own story, and everyone's a little bit racist. I come to this country for opportunities, forced to work in Korean Delhi, but I am Japanese.
It is
The,
a good song, to be
the
fair.
review then went on to talk about Ted Hughes and Sylvia Plath.
Oh my God.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, Variety would say, for all the cast's appealing work, mock cuteness, and sometimes overbearing as the authentic kind. The format being lovingly lampooned as is a necessarily limiting one, particularly in terms of the music, which the news which hews closely to sing-songy style used in drum lessons on 4-year-olds' easily distracted ears. Ultimately, the charm of the author's smart, subversive version of simplicities of kiddie TV shows will wear off earlier for some than others. But for those with fresh memories of unpleasant realities of early adulthood, treat the show like a baby to his favorite blanket. Perhaps it's because it's accurately and rather sweetly captured some of the emotional abandonment felt by ambitious kids as they watch their dreams of fame and fortune in big cities slipping away into a tide of credit card bills, temp work, and wasted night outs. Such such home truths of life, the infinite capacity to disappoint aren't quite as hard to take when they're being implemented to two brightly coloured and fur-covered creatures. It's basically being like,
Okay. It is shockingly similar to Ren in that sense.
I'll
I
let
know
the
we make fun of the reviewers, be like, this is Ren. This is the new Ren. Shockingly similar to Ren.
I still take umbrage with the West Side Story comparison.
Yeah. But I think that's more acknowledging that it parodies other musicals than being like, this is like West Side Story.
Yeah. Anyway, synopsis time is the shortest synopsis ever.
There's not a ton to say about. Humans and puppets interact in this tale of 20-somethings learning how to live and love in New York City. Think Sesame Street with adult themes, humor, and song.
Yeah.
Ren.
Rent done with
Live
puppet
and love in New
Avenue.
York City.
What do I have to say on Avenue Q? It's my first inclination when listening to it is how dated it is because it is such a product of its time.
I mean, we were just talking about the like Shrek stuff when doing the
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it unfortunately falls victim to the thing of in the early 2000s, it was seen at least as really funny to be edgy.
Yes, yeah. Like edgelords. Loved this
Yeah.
show.
Like it's very much make fun of everyone.
Mm. If everyone's the butt of the joke, then no one can be offended. That kind of
Which isn't really true, but it
no.
somehow worked for years.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with it now. I believe we should always be punching up, but it was
Yeah.
the
It
thing.
worked at the time, which isn't
Yeah,
bad. Like,
I just
but
think like as I don't know,
as
everyone's a little bit racist in the year 2024, 20 years out from it being written, shows its age.
yeah. I think most people will agree it's a pretty good song
Yeah.
by most accounts. And a lot of what it's saying holds up.
Mm.
It's just you couldn't write it. I hate when like old people on like Twitter and they're
Yeah.
like, you couldn't write this today because the woke mob would shut it down.
No,
But
because
to be
like
fair, we would shut down Avenue Q if it was written today.
No, have you seen that thing that's going around where it's like millennials being like Gen Z would have a heart attack if they saw it, and it's like the Devil Wears Prada, and it's like what?
It's so bad.
It's like MTV, and it's like guys, I grew up watching TL fucking C. Like it's gonna take a bit to phase me. Like our media consumption across generations is as different as you think it is.
I think there's a difference between like Gen Z being wrongly offended by stuff,
Mm.
which I admit happens a lot. Like people,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
want to say are like overly sensitive because that sounds like it's stupid and it's wrong.
Mm.
I don't think anyone's like overly sensitive.
Mm.
But there's stuff that I look back at that I was like getting mad about in like 2020. I was
Yeah.
like, God, was it that deep? Did it matter?
Is it
No.
really that big of
But
a
I was mad about
deal?
it at the time.
I think a lot of people just want to be mad.
I can't blame them. We're haters at heart,
We are haters at heart.
as we've always said.
As
Um, as many people can vouch
as
that we have
many
said.
people have vouched for me.
Many people.
We made many connections through being haters.
Um, many connections.
Jason, no, I'm kidding. Jason Robb has not reached out to us. God, I'd die.
Could you imagine? I'd cry
I would actually like
if we
real
get a
tears.
DM from Jason Robert Brown being like, "Hey guys, I didn't like what you said about me in
I'd be
your
like,
episode about me."
I'd be like, Jason, pay us, and we'll take it down.
We're like, Jason, I hate to tell you this, we're probably one of the nicest reviews you'll come across.
Jason, there's a podcast that has president of the Jason Robert Brown, president of Jason Robert Brown fan club merch. Anyway, moving away from Jason Robert Brown, we're haters.
I kind of struggle talking about this because I'm like, oh, the Sesame Street's good because it doesn't take itself too seriously. But the reality is, it has very serious themes.
Yes, yeah,
It's just, I think it is all tied into this idea of like edgy humor and like edgelords. Or it's if
yes.
everything is presented as a joke,
Mm,
you can't get mad about it.
yeah.
So they have this whole thing about like everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. Like, haha, yeah, racism.
We're all
Serious
guilty of it.
problem. Serious problem. But hey,
Hmm.
light-hearted. So it's not like they're calling out people in the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a single other song in Avenue Q
For now,
that does
the,
the
the
same thing.
that does the same thing. If you were gay, if you
Stuff
were
like
gay,
that, where
but
it's
not.
like if they present even these like serious or deep topics as a joke,
Yeah.
then you can't get offended by them.
No.
Whether that's because you're like if you're homophobic, you can't be like, how dare Avenue Q
Yeah.
brainwash me by supporting gay people. But if you're in, the woke mob, as many
Yeah.
of us are,
We're proud members of the woke mob.
many have said,
No one's called us saying that we were in the woke mob.
my grandparents have actually.
Oh,
They
really?
said I was in the woke mob.
Oh, some guys in a chip shop after me and my friends were at the club said we were in the woke mob.
As members of the woke mob. But like, we can't get mad and be like, no, you're homophobic. You're making fun of their struggles.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Everything's a joke.
They're
Everything's
puppets.
funny. They're puppets. Nothing serious. There's no repercussions for anything they're saying.
Yeah.
And it is very 2003. That's why I think, God, when was the last time we had a production of Avenue Q?
In the UK, or
Like,
like it ran
like
off Broadway until 2019.
Jesus.
I know.
I think that makes sense.
That does make
I've
sense.
always thought anything that happened before 2019 is just a different timeline. I can't be like, here's what I think about the like morals of something that happened in 2019 because
Yeah.
it's just completely different.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But
I think it's one of those things I look back at that I'm like, how the hell did that run until 2019? But the reality is we probably just didn't care enough. And now we
no.
do.
And
I
it's also
think
like,
that's the thing. The pandemic, you had 24 hours, 7 days a week to
yeah,
just care about shit.
to just get mad.
So you could just be like, you know what? No, Avenue Q is problematic.
Yeah, I
Get
found
it off the stage.
it closed before the pandemic, thank God, or else there would have been riots outside the theatre. Um, but I mean, even something like the character of Christmas Eve
Yeah.
makes me kind of uncomfortable because the woman who originated Anne Harada, love you, Anne Harada, love you as the stage manager. What the fuck is her name? Linda in Smash. Linda gets shit done. But the character of Christmas Eve having the put on accent kind of made me a bit uncomfortable because I think I mentioned it on here before, but I almost did Avenue Q, but the pandemic put a stop to it because, you know.
Thank God.
And we did have someone who could fit the role of Christmas Eve. We had a
Yeah.
we're going to be overly racist and doing Avenue Q.
Just the normal amount in doing Avenue
Yeah, the
Q.
normal amount of racism when doing Avenue Q. And then I was thinking, and I was like, I don't know how my friend would have felt about having to do that accent, and I don't know how other people in the group who were from minority ethnic groups being cast as Gary Coleman because you know that's the character the black woman plays or something like that. And as you were saying earlier about like Avenue Q not really having a point and it just kind of being because
Yeah.
I think the point of it does have a point, but the point is very fucking stupid. The point is very frivolous. The point is for now. The point is everything in life is so temporary, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Um,
I guess that, yeah. Because it kind of, it's when you, if you go and watch Avenue Q
yeah,
and then you walk out of the theatre, it's
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Like nothing happens with those characters to you ever again,
No,
unless you don't see it again. And then it's
yeah,
done again at the end of that.
yeah,
And so it's you have these kind of stereotypes, racist bits.
yeah,
It feels really hard to talk about because on the one hand, I'm like, no, I don't think Avenue Q is that bad. It kind of really is. It's just one
yeah.
of those things where
It's
I've never seen anyone like call it out because I
yeah.
just think everyone's kind of, at least from what I've seen, there probably are people who are genuinely like calling it
Fuck
out and hate
Avenue
it.
Q, and that's their right, you know.
You know, that's completely fine. I support that for sure. But from what I've seen, most people are just kind of like, yeah, it's a 2003 show.
Mhm.
It does not hold up now, but it was
Nope.
funny.
It was of the time, and you can tell that the guys who wrote it went on to write Book of Mormon.
Yeah. And like in another 10 years or so, Book of Mormon, even now, they had to change some of the jokes and some of the lines in Book of Mormon over the pandemic
Yeah, I wonder what would
because they just
happen.
weren't holding up anymore.
No. And I wonder whether or not in another 10 years or so, we'll see them go in and be like, actually, we're going to change Avenue Q. We're going to completely revamp the character of Christmas Eve. We're going to completely revamp the character of Gary Coleman. So they've done that before. They've revamped the character of Gary Coleman, as we're going to talk about, and changed some of the jokes and removed parts of everyone's a little bit racist and stuff like that. I wonder if that's ever going to happen or whether or not it's just going to be
Yeah.
seen as this weird time capsule.
Yeah. I think the thing is a lot of the core messages of messages, the core themes of the show hold up pretty well
Yeah.
because there's not a ton of substance to them.
Mm.
It's kind of haha funny.
Yeah.
Here's another joke. I think that holds up pretty well regardless.
Mm.
So I think it's very, hey, if we just rewrote this and had it set in 2024 instead,
Yeah.
you could still put on Avenue Q. It would just like be different. But I can't. I'm jumping it. Usually at the end of the episode, we're like, where do we see Avenue Q go from here? I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't see the current, like the original,
No.
like book, I guess you'd
Yeah,
call it,
the book, the
of Avenue
lyrics.
Q. Yeah, all of that of Avenue Q being done in any major professional capacity again.
Yeah.
I can see it in like regional theatres.
No.
I've seen a shocking amount of like schools and like unis doing it, which is crazy.
No, that's crazy too. I haven't got a full-on section on this, but obviously they completely change a lot of Avenue Q for the school version.
Yeah.
The internet is for porn, is the internet is for corn. Lucy the Slut just doesn't really exist or doesn't sing special, and her name isn't Lucy the Slut, I think it's just Lucy. Also the Lucy the Slut, I'm not sure if that would fly in a mainstream capacity today.
Yeah, I think it's one of the less,
Offensive.
yeah, a lot of the other characters and jokes are a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%.
This one's if we're just talking about all of the kind of weird looking back parts of Avenue Q, definitely up there.
Yeah, Lucy the Slut wouldn't be like top of my list to change, but it would be on there.
It's one of those things, it's like, I don't know why I keep going back to it. It's like Shrek the Musical.
No, it's a good comparison,
I'm
actually,
like
thinking
looking
about
back, I'm
it.
like, it was weird that they did just have a slur in Story of My Life.
And it
Same
was
with Newsies. Why was that in there? Why is it still in there?
I know exactly what you're on about,
It's one of
sorry.
those things you're like, you know what? It is strange. That's just in there.
But like,
But I guess it wasn't like it feels weird to say like it wasn't as bad at the time. But it definitely was.
it's always
It's just I
been
think
bad.
not as many people knew or cared that it was bad.
I think it just fit in with what was going on culturally a lot more. It's a lot more culturally acceptable to say these things on a Broadway stage.
Yeah. I think like a lot of the vocab of the early 2000s
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to say today.
Oh no. Oh no. I mean, the constant use of the R word.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Like that was like even when we were like young, that was so normal just to throw
Yeah.
around.
You know what else is?
What?
I actually don't know how to like explain this without saying it. Like for people who had seizures,
Oh yes, I know exactly
you
what
know,
I know exactly what you're on. It starts
like
with a
even up
S.
until yeah,
Yeah.
even up until I was like in high school, people were still using that pretty constantly.
Scream it across classrooms. You'd be sat there and people just be like, and then they, yeah. I mean,
And
stuff that
you
was,
a shockingly small punishment for it from the teachers.
I mean, don't take stuff that was screamed across our classrooms as.
No, as we found out, it takes a lot to get
It takes a
expelled from our
lot
high
to get
school.
expelled from our high school. It was anything from mum's life or to full on.
It's like because even that, God, we were in high school until 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
And again, I would not use our high school as like,
No, as the benchmark of proper society.
but it's like now I think even if I hung out with that, like if we went back to high school tomorrow,
Yeah, God,
like
hell no,
exact same
possible.
group of people,
I'd rather die.
I feel
But
like
yeah.
you wouldn't hear it as much.
No, I think.
Definitely one or two people,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
there's still
But
a couple of people who have no idea. But as a whole, I feel like we were all a
in
lot more.
general, people are like, maybe that's why it ran off Broadway for so long.
Mm,
Just because everyone was kind of aware a lot of the language was bad now,
yeah.
but no one cared enough to do anything. And then suddenly the pandemic happened, and all you could do was care.
Or you could, yeah, and then you just have this knowledge with you, and you're like, okay, like you
And
can't
I
go
was like,
back
okay,
to
you know what?
ignorance. Yeah.
Sorry to get deep about having EQ, but
Eh,
you know,
what else? What else do I have to say?
all we can do is care.
All we can do is care. And now I study social policy.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, I actually cannot look at the news because it just makes me so angry. Um, that's why I know so much about the theatrical news and not the real world news, is because it just pisses me off.
Yeah, I had to read an article for an essay I was writing. Sorry, I don't know why
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
reminded me of it. I had to read an article for an essay I was writing,
Yeah.
and the like opening line
Mm.
and like the kind of semi-title of it
Yeah.
was in quotes, how are we going to pay last year's rent? This is the question posed in Jonathan Larson's 1992 musical, Rent. And it holds true today. I was like, what's it talking about?
How did we get here?
It was about like I don't even think it was about like the cost of living crisis or something.
Really?
It was just about something random. Well, to be fair, it might have been about the cost of living. I found it again.
Well, that sounds like something.
Is how are we going to pay last year's rent? The chorus implores in the song Rent from Jonathan Larson's 1996 musical of the same name. It's the same refrain for many Americans today. In the
Um,
wealthiest country on the planet, this is unacceptable.
odd.
Dude,
Well, yeah, 'cause you have no fun. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it.
let's not do this right now.
I'm not talking about it because if you want to know my thoughts, then pay me. Actually,
The
I'm paid.
song Rent concludes because everything is rent, but it shouldn't have to be.
That's actually a
Thanks,
point
man.
though. Maybe Jonathan Larson was really onto something. Wait, sorry.
Do you want this article?
Yeah, please actually send that to me. Puppets. I love puppets. I I genuinely love
Puppets.
puppets. Puppets. I love the Muppets, and I love like the idea of a satire on them or whatever is very good. I
I
enjoy that
think, to be
notion.
fair, it's an idea that really holds up today. Like the Kermit on TikTok who sings different
Kermit
musical
my
Disney
frog.
songs.
Oh my god, I
Yeah,
love that account.
you have that. You have like, oh, he was at 54 Below.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was crazy. You have that.
Okay,
You
but
have like
bloody
a
hurry.
ton of like, God, even on Vine, you have like
This,
people using the Muppets to say like fuck.
I mean, people. Do you remember that trend in again 2020, actually 2019? I think it was pre-pandemic, where people just paint Kermit everywhere.
Yeah,
Also, Miss Piggy's Twitter page is one of my favorite.
yeah. It's, I think even Elmo right now, he's been going
Yeah,
through a big resurgence.
Elmo.
This joke of like these kids' characters
Yeah,
being used for adult, that sounds weird. I was
being
gonna say
you.
used for adult purposes, but that does sound weird.
That sounds like you're saying something else, but I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're on about. Being used in mainstream conversations, not about children TV.
yeah,
Like Elmo asked everyone how they were doing on Twitter, and everyone decided to trauma dump on Elmo.
yeah,
And then the right got really annoyed at Elmo because he said Happy Eid.
yeah. So uh, Ramadan.
Oh yeah, he said Happy Ramadan to all his Muslim friends.
Ram is great. I love him.
I love Elmo. I love Miss Piggy. I got drunk the other night and started talking about how much I love Miss Piggy. They have her wedding dress on display somewhere, and I need to go visit. Like, I need to go make the pilgrimage to Miss Piggy's.
I'm still thinking about Elmo, man. He had that whole thing on TikTok with the Rock,
Oh
like
yeah,
the actual Rock character,
yeah.
and people were like, Elmo, I love this guy.
Elmo turned
Like,
free.
people just love like puppets. You
Yeah,
should have puppets in more things.
I love puppets. There was a rumor that they were going to try and get Kermit the Frog and Gutenberg as a producer.
Oh, I'd
If
do
they would
anything.
have done that, that would have been worse than if they got Android Webber to show up.
Yeah,
They are also constantly talking about a Muppet musical.
yeah,
I feel like last summer there was a report saying there's a Muppet musical happening, and I was like, great, please do it. Please actually do it.
yeah. I think
I
that's where a lot of Avenue Q's like success comes from. People just love like puppets and Muppets.
Yeah, they're just fun. They're fun. They're cute. I'm not gonna say whimsy because we said that a ton last
Whimsy,
week.
the whimsy of Avenue Q.
Avenue is not whimsy. It's fun, but I don't say I wouldn't call it whimsy.
The Muppets are whimsy.
The Muppets
The
are
Muppets are
whimsy.
whimsical.
Yes. Anyway, I feel like that's all I have to say on Avenue Q.
Again, I don't think there's a ton to say about it.
No.
It's funny, doesn't really hold up today. It's Tony Award campaign.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Iconic.
This is an intersection of our. What we're about to talk about now is an intersection of mine and Nell's what we study and
Yeah,
musical theatre, and they very rarely intersect. So let
it's
us
very
talk about
good.
them. So, for the 2004 Tony Awards, they would be nominated for Best Musical, Best Book of a Musical, Best Original Score, Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical for John Tagliatelle, Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical for Stephanie D'Abruzio, and Best Direction for Jason Ball. So, the day after the announcement for the Tony nominations, Avenue Q wasted no time putting its grassroots campaign together for the Best Musical Prize, holding private fundraising gala at John's Pizzeria, complete with red, white, and blue buttons and matching personalized buttons that say "Don't suck, vote for Q." The popular musical adorned the marquee facade of the Golden Theatre in a new style, adding to the growing list of items that made the musical a parody on a daily basis. They made it look like a classic, like red, white, and royal blue, vote for Q. That was just what was on the marquee.
Campaign. It's also not royal blue. That is a book and TV show.
Yeah, I've not read that. I would like it to be known. I've not read that. It just comes up on my Twitter
It
feed
rolls off the
far
tongue.
too much. Far too fucking much.
Yeah. They
Um,
campaigned.
and what if I said they deserved it for all the work they put in?
Like, nowadays you see shows being like, oh, we really hope you win Best New Musical. We really like it. No,
Or like
man.
or like doing the press circuit of like doing in or like sending their poor actors out on interviews all the time and being like, and now I am going to talk about how great this show is.
I think the other thing that really helped Avenue Q out,
Mm.
you can really tell this overlaps with my degree. That
Yeah.
2004 Tonys, it was an election year.
I have that written down, yeah.
So already there's this whole kind of, and God, when are the Tonys? April, May-ish?
So May or June,
Yeah.
June, that early June, they're like the second weekend in June, I believe.
So yeah, you'd already have like the primaries. You'd know who your candidates were for both
Yeah.
parties. They'd be
And
campaigning, they'd be starting to do their travel around the country.
yeah, a show that like very directly references George Bush as well. It is not like it was probably one of the only musicals on there to like fully reference political figures.
Yeah. They really, if their whole shtick is like, I don't like this so complicated.
Yeah.
What if the Muppets could talk you through it?
Yeah.
They
So
really leaned into that of like, don't know who to vote for because elections are really hard and you don't like either candidate. Don't suck.
yeah,
Vote
yeah,
Q.
yeah. Also,
They basically ran a political campaign
they
at the
did.
same time that actual political campaigns were running
Yes.
for the
Yes.
Tony Awards.
The
And it
Tony
really helped.
Awards. And
It completely portrayed that it's like sometimes you see shows doing campaigns or like marketing
they'll
and it
just like put all of
doesn't
their good
match.
reviews on like a poster. And I'm not being mean about a certain show here. Hadestown on the West End have literally just done this.
A lot of shows do it. It's like the logo surrounded by reviews. I think Doubtfire did it.
Days of Wine and Roses.
Yeah. But I think the thing is, a lot of the time when you do that, you either don't get a sense of what the show actually is,
Yeah, yeah.
or it doesn't, if they do a proper marketing thing, sometimes it just doesn't match the tone of the show.
It also doesn't leave an impression because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. It's like the Shrek trailer
Oh yeah,
for the Shrek tour.
yeah.
It doesn't match Shrek the musical,
No,
which is a stupid musical altogether. Lean into that if you're going to market Shrek the musical.
yeah,
I know I joked about it a bit and seemed disgusting when you were like, yeah, they've changed the framing of the show.
mm.
But I think that works. It
Yeah,
just enhances that it's kind of a stupid show.
yeah.
I love Shrek the musical, by the way.
So excited to see it this summer.
Yeah. Avenue Q had this very strong political campaign
Mm-hmm.
at the same time as the presidential race. And if you even remotely saw it and you're like, what the hell is Vote Q?
Yeah,
If you searched it up, because 2004, you had internet at this point.
yeah, yeah.
You might have even had a smartphone. Not a smartphone,
Nah.
a cell phone.
Yeah.
Maybe even a computer.
Maybe a BlackBerry.
Yeah, but you could search it up or look it up or ask someone. I'd be like, oh, that's for Avenue Q. They want to win
The
Best
Tony.
New Musical at the Tonys.
Yeah.
You could then go and see the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be the exact same experience as finding out about all of their marketing. Or just,
Yes.
this is batshit insane. This is
Yes.
real life but stupid.
Yes.
I like this. This should win Best New Musical because
Yeah.
everything about it has been good so far.
So
Whereas with,
that yeah,
it
whereas
did
with like
really well.
it was really good and interesting. Whereas and then their most like egregious one was when they wrote the song Rod's Dilemma, where Rod was in trouble picking a president for the Rotary Club election. The unnamed candidates which bear resemblance to the best musical nominees. The cast urged Rod to vote with his heart, reminding him it's a secret ballot and no one knows who you're voting for. It was featured in a promotional CD that was given to the attendees of the party along with the campaign buttons.
It's just such a good concept.
As I'm going to say
And
so much as we get into award season means nothing. It is all pomp and circumstance, and they took it and ran with it.
I'm trying to think of a single musical.
They changed the rules, so you can't do this anymore.
But like, imagine if you could, what musical could do it the same way? To be fair, and I will give them credit, because I always have. But Mincemeat did do something very similar. When their posters were banned on the underground,
Oh yeah, yeah.
they had calling all influencers,
Sorry.
the influencers. They had like a tweet went out. I've blocked this account since. Sorry. But it was the official account. They're like, influencers, your mission, should you choose to accept it, which is a famous line and also in the show, I think. I don't remember
It
much
plays
of the
into
show.
the spy aspect of it.
Yeah, this whole spy, Operation Mincemeat, spies,
Yeah,
Secret Service, all that shit. That's
yeah.
American. They're like, go on the underground, get this poster of our show that's in a newspaper,
Mm.
and just hold it up on the tube or hold it up in the station and
Yes,
take a picture of it and post it online.
yes,
First of all, it's free marketing,
100%.
but kind of not because they were meant to have marketing there, but it was
Yeah,
banned.
yeah.
They didn't pay people for doing it, but
Mm.
I can't fault them for that. If I could get them influencers to do free work for me, I absolutely
Oh,
would.
if I could have a band of people that would pay my rent, oh,
Yeah.
you're living the life.
I think that the closest I can think of.
What show would I like to have seen do an Avenue Q type campaign? Phantom, if they needed to campaign for it,
But
they
what would they do?
do shit. I don't know. Someone could have thrown some money at something and have them do some shit.
I think the whole Phantom thing is I don't think there's a way to make it like over the top funny public.
No, it's only
Operation
funny to
Mincemeat did
us.
succeed at that.
Book of Mormon could have done something interesting.
Book of Mormon definitely could have. You could have had a whole bit of going door to door to people's houses and leaving a Book of Mormon, which was blank, and then just said, "Wait, Book of Mormon, that's a musical." You could have had. Well, I'm trying to think of a single other musical.
Oh God, I felt like Waitress could have really leaned into it with the pies.
Yeah, I think the thing
They could
is,
have hosted an event at the diner.
the ones that can do it the best are ones that are at least semi-political.
Yeah, so I was thinking like what's quite
Because, like,
political?
imagine if, like, God, what's like a serious musical? Like Les Mis. Les Mis is political
Les Mis is
by
political.
all means.
It's all political. We spent some time talking about when I'm going to cry at Les Mis.
Yeah, it's about a political event. It
Yeah,
is technically political,
yeah.
but you couldn't have a comedy campaign like that from Les Mis. It
No,
just because it doesn't match the tone of the show.
no matter the Les Mis Twitter page is truly hilarious
It
because
is
they
hilarious.
try and be funny, but it's like you're the Les Mis Twitter page.
Yeah,
Shut up.
it's like, oh, I do hate to say it. I feel like Heathers could have done something.
Heathers could have done something. Be more chill. No, they're not political enough.
No,
They would have tried.
Now listen, they didn't need to by any means.
Hamilton.
We're never gonna need to. Hamilton could have done something.
So could have done something. They could have done an amazing political campaign.
They had Obama. He was there.
They had an actual political election. You can tell I'm getting annoyed about this because the way I'm chatting. Yeah, they could have done something so sick, but they didn't because they didn't need to.
What if? Okay, hear me out on this.
Yeah.
What if it's okay? Picture it. It's the 2016 Tonys.
Oh, what a time to be alive, man.
It's also an election year. Hamilton.
Yeah.
Guys,
you really fucking fumbled the bag here.
You get a promotional video on your like Twitter or something. Hillary Clinton comes out. She says,
yeah.
"Guys, I am running for
I'm going to be the
first female president through the Democratic Party." As blah blah blah. She gets a little bit of the campaign in there.
Yeah.
And she says, "But I'm not the president you should be voting for first."
Yeah.
Christopher Jackson as George Washington walks out. He says,
Or
"Vote for
Aaron
Hamilton for
Burr.
Best New Musical at the Tonys."
Show where I felt
Would
like
that not be good?
that would be good. I'm thinking about why we build the wall from Hades Town. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they probably could have done something. Don't know
What's
what.
opening this year? It's an
I'll get
election year
back
this
to you
year.
on that
What's
next
opening?
week.
Gatsby. Come on, guys.
Gatsby.
Get a campaign, get a political campaign going right now.
God knows they probably need it if they want to get some Tony noms this season.
Gatsby, I'll say this. I would accept you making a really Republican joke.
Nick Buchanan, Nick, not no, not Nick. Tom Buchanan. He is a shit person. You can have him say some outlandish shit.
Get Jeremy Jordan out there. He's dressed in red. This is
Okay.
already controversial.
What the fuck are you about to say?
He says,
Because Tom Buchanan fully says, I don't know about the musical because no one sent me a like, but in the book he fully says some GOP talking points.
but it's like Jeremy Jordan comes out dressed in red and he does his Gatsby voice, which I'm sure he has. He's never done a character without a specific voice. And
We know he actually hasn't. I don't know
he has not
what this
had
man's
a
normal
character
voice
without
is
a
like.
specific voice.
If you ask me to picture Jeremy Donald's voice, I'm like, so Clyde.
I've watched
I'm
enough
like,
of his
no.
damn TikToks.
I watched him on 2 times speed.
He comes out in red.
Yeah.
And he says, "Aren't you tired of having the money you would use to throw your extravagant parties to attract, I don't know, she lives across a lake or some shit?
Bay.
Your
Bay.
crush across the bay to come and fall in love with you? Because the
Comes to
damn
a
libs,
party.
I don't know if you could say that bit, but the damn libs are stealing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a solution.
Gatsby doesn't pay taxes. He's a bootlegger. Alleged.
And that's why they're stealing his money that he
Okay.
uses for his parties through taxes.
Okay, I feel like it would make more sense to have Tom Buchanan do it, but like Jeremy Jordan's a bigger name.
You have to hear me out on this. I'm not
Okay.
done.
Okay.
He has his whole thing. He's like, haha, I'm Gatsby. I'm in love with Daisy. I'm making jokes about being a Republican. And he's like, I have a solution for you.
I'm Gatsby.
You need to vote. Vote for Gatsby. And then it switches to Tony Awards campaign. What else is like running this year that could do a good political campaign?
No, but can't really do one. It's too mild-mannered. Limpika? They're against fascism.
The problem is none of them are funny enough.
No, none of them are funny enough. Spamalot could
And
probably do a good one.
Spam a lot, spam a lot.
Come on, Spamalot. Come on. I know you're technically closing soon, but please.
You've got this.
Please. You've got all the time in the world to do a Tony campaign now. You've got no reason not to.
Are there like the same restrictions now against Olivier Awards?
no,
Can you do funny campaigns for your Olivier Awards?
I don't know because it's so murky.
Mincemeat, this is the only time I'll be giving you advice.
Okay. Strap in,
You
guys.
have the opportunity to do a really good campaign.
Oh yeah. Hit us up. You will have to pay us. Anyone. Actually, this also goes to the Gatsby marketing team if you want to use the idea.
Just think of everything Sesame Street did.
Yeah. Oh,
I think
Mincemeat
the
could do
they
so
could do
many
it
good
really well.
things. I've just come up with about 2 ideas. Just
We're rooting for you,
you
as
know
we
where to
always
find
have.
us. You know where to
Like literally. I think the thing is, there's no show that will do it as well as Avenue Q did.
No. It's sad that we can't have more pomp and circumstance around it now, like insanity, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of this, they would win the Tony for Best Musical along with Best Score and Best Book.
I don't remember what else was in that season.
Wicked, Caroline O'Chage, Boy from Oz.
Yeah, I guess like that's pretty strong.
It was Avenue Q versus Wicked, really.
Yeah. And Wicked just didn't campaign enough.
Wicked just didn't do enough songs saying vote with your heart or pins. Wicked is quite political.
Yeah, but I feel like it's too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other stuff makes sense as well.
Mm.
Like, best leading actor, Hugh Jackman. Who else was it going to go to?
Yeah, sure.
Leading actress, Indina Menzel.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to go to anyone else.
No.
No offense to every other nominee, but Indina Menzel, come on.
Idina Menzel in Wicked is iconic.
Yeah, I think then like scenic design, costume design. No, they went to Wicked.
No, yes, I meant to say Wicked. Can you imagine they went to Avenue Q where they're all dressed in black?
I would have liked Best Direction for Avenue Q. It went to Assassins instead, which I can see,
Mm,
you know. And it is crazy. 10 nominations for Wicked.
yeah. So yeah, they would hold a puppet debate on the same day as the presidential debate.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good. So it would be called Avenue Q and A, the one and only, the one time only comedic event aimed at. I had the disclaimer: any similarities between puppets and actual presidential candidates are purely coincidental. With Bush and Kerry puppets stood with their human handlers behind official-looking podiums and addressed an assembly of soaked tourists and soggy musical theatre lovers. Red, white, and blue continually conked blue debate goers among the weather conditions. So they were asked about stuff like same-sex marriage, with there being a lyric saying, if you feel free to tell the GOP that instead of Laura Bush, you want some young guys tush.
Jesus Christ.
It was 2004. It kind of refreshed me. Blue skin tinted Rod told the Associated Press, an actual character from Avenue Q. Military service in Vietnam, every man's civic duty, exclaimed Kerry. Who gives a doogie? Replied Bush. Like
Judy.
duty.
Like shit.
Yeah. I wanted to hear the truth, said Rod. I thought we as people and puppets of America needed that. So yeah, that's just some excerpts from
It's such a good concept and they did it so perfectly.
and I love it. I love it so much.
It just worked so well.
If a musical is going to be overtly political, can it please do it in this way? Because like
I
we
think if
talk,
you're gonna criticize I think if you're gonna criticize politics,
yeah,
do it overtly.
yes,
Like, don't have it as a sub theme in your show.
yeah,
Don't like skip over it. Do a fucking debate with puppets about it.
yeah. While you
Because
have one of the puppets give a quote to the Associated Press, like that's
yeah,
insane.
I think one of the things is like this whole time we've been talking about a big part of the allure and joke of Avenue Q is
Mm.
wouldn't it be funny the Muppets could say fuck? That's kind of the joke of Avenue Q.
Yeah,
And so in that way it becomes look at how stupid real life is. We
yeah.
can tell it's stupid because we have Muppets doing it and
Mm.
it still makes sense. That's the
Mm.
thing. As we did with the presidential campaign, where it's set up exactly like it
Yeah.
sounds like a presidential debate. It's like, this is stupid. Understand that politics right now is stupid. And you know if you can change it, if you vote. Yeah, I think it just that kind of stuff resonates with a lot of young adults.
Yeah, especially of that time because they did not like
Yeah,
Bob. They did not like Bush. I don't like Bush either. I'd like that to be known. If you couldn't tell, we don't like the Republicans.
yeah.
Um,
We're the woke mob,
we're the
as
woke mob,
as we've said.
as we have said.
It is actually just us two.
We are the entirety of the woke mob. Yeah. You know, surprise, surprise, it would recoup its initial investment of 3.5 million in 10 months, which is kind of insane. Um,
They're announcing the cast.
what?
Mean Girls.
When?
Like they put a teaser out on on their Twitter.
Mean Girls has been casted since October, like December, by the way, guys.
It's been cast for a while, but they're putting it. Let me look at the pictures of these people.
Okay, see if we. This is good marketing, guys.
I hate to say it, but Mean Girls the musical is doing good marketing right now. To be fair, they always kind of had
They
because
always
they've had
have,
Tina Fey.
yeah. Oh, okay. I've just
What?
seen someone say Grace Moat as Gretchen. They could be wrong. That could be wrong,
Ooh.
but
It'd be cool though.
it could be Grace Moat.
Yeah.
I don't sound very enthusiastic, but I'm intrigued.
Anyways, back to Avenue Q.
Back to politics of Avenue Q. This is very exciting. Yeah. Mean Girls is in rehearsal. It's been cast
And they're now announcing cast.
since December.
Yeah.
Don't ask my sources. They would have a cast recording come out on the 7th of October 2013 with Playbill saying it might be one of the first Broadway cast recordings to have a parental advisory stickers on it.
Oh, 2003.
I thought about it and I was like, that
You
kind of
said 2013. I was like, there's no way they waited 10 years.
no. I know I said
You said 2013.
oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was 2003.
2003. I was born by that point. I couldn't listen to this.
Sure, yeah. Uh, it's kind of crazy, but then I thought about it that it was the first one to have an explicit content warning, and then I thought about it and I was like, what the fuck else was
But there's like a difference between
saying
explicit
shit and
content and
fuck?
like swearing.
Yeah.
Like there's explicit language and parental advisory, which
Mm.
is usually when there's some swearing in a show. Explicit, what was it?
Content.
Yeah, I mean everything was an Avenue Q.
Every single sentence in Avenue Q. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, many other Broadway cast recordings now have advisories on them. Hamilton does. One thing that we briefly mentioned is Gary Coleman and the inclusion of him as a real person. Because Gary Coleman's a real person. He was on a TV show called Different Strokes. He had a very troubled life. He would die in 2010 while the musical was still running off Broadway, and they didn't really know how to do that.
Yeah. It's one of those things where they did kind of get themselves into the situation.
Yeah, it's like you had to go make punches at a real child star. So when a real person dies, like all people do,
That is on you at that point.
and apparently they were constantly worried about Gary Coleman dying, and I was like, why the fuck did you include him then?
Yeah. It's just
Avenue Q so this is when I was like, Avenue Q is so weird, man.
it's like how do you get yourself into that situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you're constantly worried about this guy dying because of how it will affect the comedy in your show, do
Yeah.
you not step back for a minute and go, maybe
Maybe we should
to
rewrite.
avoid this, we should take him out the show?
Just have him be an archetype and be like, oh, it's meant to be a spoof on Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
With them saying the question came to me, so now do we bring in a new character instead of the sit of the show going forward with small changes throughout? They cut about 20 words out of a million out of the show, with I think one of the way they like referred to him being changed. So instead of being referred to as a former child star, just being referred to as a child star.
Yeah.
So almost painting him in like a different, better light. I don't know. The whole thing's still really strange to me.
Yeah.
And so that there's also because of current events, I'm having to change with the current events because it's constantly being performed. Theatre is never frozen in time fully. So at the end of the last song, For Now, there's like a part where they would go George Bush. And if George Bush is no longer in office, you can't say that. So they went through a lot of them. Enron, Fox News, Prop 8, BP, NRA, Ebola, and Donald Trump.
Oh,
When I sung this song, because I've sung this song before, we did Brexit, obviously.
oh my God.
I wish Brexit was any for that. It will come to London.
Eventually.
Eventually, it would open in 2006 in the Noel Coward Theatre, where it would be nominated for Best Musical at the Olivier Awards, but would lose to Caroline or Change. 4.5 years, I was about to say, not 10 years. They would play 3 theatres, being the Wyndham, the Gielgud, and the Noel Coward, as mentioned. Which I feel like was quite common for a while on the West End, shows just to kind of move about.
Yeah. Les Mis did that for a
Les
bit.
Mis did that, yeah. Mamma Mia's played at like 3 or 4 different houses. When they would announce their closer, Kate Munster would release a statement to the press. I like the fact that they get the puppets to release statements to the press.
Yeah.
It's very Sesame Street of them, saying, we've had a great time. It's been a real ball. I think we've all grown up now and got our sights set on living in a more upmarket part of town. And Trekkie Monster wants to live somewhere with better broadband connection.
Like, it's just such a stupid idea, but it covers all your bases.
It works so well, and I was thinking more shows should do this, but then I was like, I don't know if it would work the same.
They're saying we loved putting on the show, but
Yeah.
we've kind of moved on.
Yeah,
the actors want to do something else.
yeah.
It's like you've covered all of that without having some random guy go up and be like, "Hey guys, this show is closing
Sorry.
because basically,"
Yeah,
and then like struggling to say why.
yeah.
You just be blunt about it with a puppet.
As
Yeah.
I previously mentioned, they would close on Broadway on the 13th of September 2009, but then they would open off Broadway on the 9th of October of the same year. So like under a month later, they were back in New York playing. They would say that research indicates that this transfer is unprecedented and it's the first time that a Broadway musical has indeed moved to an off-Broadway theatre. It would stay there until March 2019, where it would close after 10 years after moving off Broadway. That's where I got 10 years from. So
Oh,
yeah, that's Avenue Q. It
yeah.
it lived.
We kind of covered what we think is going to happen to it, which is if it wants to come back properly, it has to do some serious changes.
Yeah, and I don't think they're very interested in doing that because it's had its time. It's so had its time.
Yeah. It's one of those things like with Rent, to sound like a
Yes.
Broadway reviewer.
Sound like Ben Brantley.
Rent, I think I'd love to see it come back. We talked about it when we did the Rent episode.
Yeah.
It's a really good show. It's pretty timeless.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see it. Avenue Q, I've again never really seen it
Uh-huh.
beyond clips.
Yeah.
I've not listened to it a ton. I think if it did come back, I'd want to go see it.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued. Yes, 100%.
But there's nothing that makes me like really want a revival.
I'm not gagging for one.
Yeah. I think it's the other thing. I was definitely too young to see it when it opened.
Oh yeah.
So it's not one of those things where I'm like, I need to see it because I think I missed out.
No.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Avenue Q.
that's so cute. What are we doing next week?
That's a good question. What
Do,
are we doing next
do you want
week?
me to get up the calendar?
Yes, please.
Because we just looked before we started recording, we looked at it and went, "That's a wild."
Oh, I remember what we're doing next week.
That's a wild flip that we've got in some of them
Coming up.
coming up. Stay tuned.
It's because basically I was reading out the calendar,
Yeah,
like the list of shows we're doing. And it's just crazy. We'll have like 2 months fully planned,
I just like yeah.
and then this massive gap of just we have no idea what we're
We got
doing.
no idea what we're doing. May? Anyone got any ideas for May? Let us know.
We've got nothing for May.
And then we've got it all planned out until November.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Apart from like 1 week in October,
1 week
we
in
kind
October,
of know
we're
what we're
like,
gonna fill it with.
we've got like 5 ideas.
We basically just need to pick one. We've got a bit of a gap in like August or something. There's
We've
like
got
a
one
week.
week. We've got a week there and then like a week there. But yeah, other than
Yeah.
that,
But we kind of know what we're doing.
yeah, I've got vague ideas.
Next week, we're doing SpongeBob, the
SpongeBob SquarePants
musical,
the musical.
with Ethan Slater.
I hate how like a year ago that would have meant nothing and been like, yeah, of course Ethan Slater was nominated for a Tony for that role. And now it's like everyone knows about SpongeBob the musical.
Great show.
It will be our first 2018 show actually. Which is kind of
Breaking
crazy.
free of the 2017 Tonys.
Finally free of the shackles. We've done them all. No, we haven't actually. We've got one more planned where I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a heavy 2017 one. But yeah, SpongeBob. SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical.
Yeah.
Find us on socials. They're always linked. Next time we speak, we would have seen Hadestown.
I know, it'll be so fun.
I hope we like it. Imagine if we see it, we're like, why is this so high?
We're like,
We're like,
wow.
we're like the independent reviewers that gave it 2 stars.
Because it had an unhappy ending. That's gonna be us.
Yeah, because I'm known to love like a happy ending.
If I don't leave the theatre smiling, what's the point?
If I am not walking down Shaftesbury giggling and skipping, then my 20 quid wasn't worth it.
Sorry, what is happening with Starlight Express?
I don't know.
They're like the original London production of Starlight Express celebrates its 40th anniversary tomorrow. How do you think we'll be celebrating? I
Releasing
don't
your
want to
cast?
know. Are you gonna get them back on skates?
Yeah.
They're gonna skate around Central singing the songs.
Please, because we're in Central tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Bye-bye.
Bye.